Hello and welcome back to another epic adventure at Weaver Stonehouse Farms. A winch cradle that we picked up off of Amazon. It's been very helpful. We need stuff that's dual purpose. So it's pretty beefy. Let me grab Caitlin. That's one thing I was wondering about. Whenever I bought it and I'm like, how flimsy is this? Is it going to be a piece of junk? What is it? And looking at that steel, it's a hair under 1/4 inch. So that's pretty thick. I was quite impressed with it. I'm impressed with the weight of it. And then it's just simply a bolt together. These pieces, I think, these were bolted in here and went down. So then you just had to bolt here, and you had to figure out one of these 3 holes. Here's your pivot. Do you want it, where do you want it? Do you want it higher up? Do you want it further down? I elected to have it wider so I could have a little bit more protection on it. I was kind of impressed with it. It's pretty heavy. The whole setup's pretty heavy. So back here is where I modified mine. What I did is I ground this out here so I could get to my ground. So if I need to tighten it up or loosen it or take it off from my ground wire here, that has room for a socket to go down on. So then what I did is I welded it right there. So I just took and welded it on, ground the powder coat off, welded it, and then on the inside I ground it and welded as well. Now, one of the reasons I did that is right here. You can see these Warn Winch, and here was the problem. That bolt was rubbing in on that boot by the electrical connector, and I really didn't want to ruin that. That's why we ended up welding it. I mean, there's boots. Okay, so this boot right here, this middle one, that's all right. There's a little bit of clearance. It's on it, but it's not. The nut's not up against it. Looking down through that hole, you can see there's a boot, and so that nut, the back of that bolt, was right up against that boot nut. We're gonna modify a winch mount that we bought off of Amazon, so it better fits our Warn winch. Where these bolts go through for the winch mount. And when the winch is in here, these bolts rub into the rubber boot for that electrical mount. So I went ahead, ground that off right there. Look at it normally. We're going to weld a little patch there, and we're going to weld a little bit there so we can remove the bolts. And then the winch will sit down in the winch cradle just fine. Okay, so there's our first pass weld. Yeah, I got a little porosity up top, but for what this is, it's okay. Pretty good. Look at that. It's all right. Stick welder. You make, guys. And this one, not the best, but not the worst. That's okay. It's just a double up. So, all right. I'm happy with that. A lot of guys were complaining about the welds. Well, let's take a look at it. I didn't see any major issues with it, but you can see that the welds underneath looked fine for what I could see. I mean, they're covered by powder coat. If you don't like it, grind it and weld some extra in on your own. The holes lined up. You can see the holes. So this is a Warn VR10 winch, and those holes lined up just fine for us. And everything kind of fit as it should. The dual purpose part of this, not only can I put it on a hitch on a truck, the van, I took a standard, that's what a 2-inch, that's a 2-inch receiver tube. So I took a 2-inch receiver tube, and I'll leave a link to this as well, and I measured it off, and I drilled it out on the backside. So then this goes onto here, and my pin goes through, okay? And then this is another add-on piece, so I had to buy this as well. And this is just a D-ring shackle mount for a 2-inch receiver. So that just slides into there. So I essentially made an adapter so I could fit in between. Now, why did I do that? Because this part right here, and I use my swivel here, then I can mount this to a D-hook. So on my trailer. So I can actually sling that right to my trailer. Or if I need to go ahead and take a strap, which I've used I got some other straps and bigger slings, and I'll sling this actually around a tree. So it makes it dual purpose for me. So we can tie it off to a tree, and we can use it on a truck. We could use it tied off to a tractor if we needed to. We could tie it off on anything. So that's what we use it for. So you can see on that winch cradle, it's great for us. And so if you would, hopefully it's great for you too. So use the link in the description below and go ahead and purchase it from Amazon. That'll help our farm and give us a couple bucks so we can feed the wine and dogs. So, hey, thanks. We'll see you on the farm next time. Bye.